In this example, we will multiply square roots of negative numbers. So let's multiply these two numbers. Square root of negative 15 becomes square root of 15 times square root of negative 1 becomes an I times square root of 15, the same thing. And then negative with the square root becomes I. Then collect the numbers together. There are two square root of 15 multiplied. So we can raise square root of 15 to the second power times I is I squared. Okay, then this is equal to you remember from the last example, I squared is equal to always negative 1, and square root of some number x raised to the second power is equal to x. Always this x out because the index is 2. The index is 2 and the power is 2. Then take this x out. Okay, then the first factor becomes now 15. And then I squared is negative 1. And 15 is multiplied by negative number, so negative 15. Okay. Okay, next example. Okay, next example is a product of square root of negative 5 and parentheses. And the parentheses contains two square roots of negative numbers. Okay, then how do we multiply this? Okay, first we need to write this expression in I form and then simplify its square root. The square root of negative 5 is square root of 5 times the negative sign with the square root becomes the imaginary unit I multiplied by, okay, what is square root 45? Okay, 45 is a product of 9 times 5, and 9 is 3 times 3, so we can write it as square root of 3 squared times 5. Negative with the square root becomes the imaginary unit I minus square root of 4 I. Okay, let's do one more time. Square root of 5i parenthesis square root of 3 squared is 3, and 5 is not a perfect number, so stay inside the square root I minus square root of 4 is 2 because 4 is 2 squared I. Okay, this is the I form with simplified radicals. Okay, then apply the distributive property, which means multiply two terms inside the parentheses by this factor. So square root of 5i times 3 square root of I minus, multiply these two, square root of 5i times 2i. This 2i, not negative 2i, because this minus sign is used up here. Okay, then multiply the numbers followed by i's. Okay, there are two square root of 5, so we can raise square root of 5 to the second power. And then 3. Okay, 3, we can put 3 in front of the numbers. So 3 times square root of 5 squared times I is multiplied twice, so I squared minus, same thing here, put the number in front side, followed by square root of 5. I times I is I squared. And now we know that I squared is negative 1. So replace I squared with negative sign 3 times, and square root of 5 squared is equal to what? Okay, power, and the square root, kill it, becomes only 5. So 5 times negative 1 minus 2, and this one stays inside 5, then minus 1, negative 1. Okay, finally, 3 times 5 is 15, and this negative sign moves to the front. Then minus times negative. Negative times negative is positive. Opposite of negative is positive. So this becomes plus 2 square root of 5. Okay, we're done. So in this example, make sure to simplify each radical expression. So 45 is 9 times 5, and 9 becomes 3. And then when you multiply I, it becomes I squared. And I squared is negative 1. And then just add and multiply.